Hi, welcome back to ilovedrupal.com. This is going to be our second video in the series, Beginner's Guide to Drupal. In this video, we're actually going to set up our local machine so that we're able to install Drupal and set up our website locally and work on our project. So what do you need in order to get started? You need a LAMP architecture in order to run Drupal locally. By LAMP, we're referring to a Linux-based operating system. A is for the Apache web server, M is for the MySQL database, and the P is for the PHP programming that is used for the actual coding of the content management system. So we need all these things on our local machine in order to work on Drupal. So how do we do that? Well, we actually install another application that will install all these things for you in one go. There are actually a couple of different ways you can go about it. If you go to apachefrench.org, you'll see that they have a XAMPP, XAMPP flavor that will install these things for you. Again, you have the Linux flavor if you have Linux operating system, and then they have the Windows flavor if you have the Windows operating system. So you can install XAMPP on either of those operating systems depending on what you have locally. They also have the Mac version as well. So basically you would download this and install this script, and it will make your local machine, it will configure your local machine to be able to run our Drupal installation. Okay, so that's one option. The second option is WAMP server. Again, it's doing the same thing, it's just a little different flavor. You can read more about it on their website there. The one that we're going to use and the one that I recommend especially for Drupal is from Acquia.com. These guys are Drupal shop, and they've designed a stack specifically for Drupal. So right off the bat, everything just works very smoothly, and this is why I like this. So go ahead and click on the download button here for the Acquia version of the LAMP stack. And then we also want to download the actual Drupal script. We'll go to drupal.org and then click on Get Started with Drupal. And you can click on the download version. Right now the version is 7.15. You also see that there is the 6.26 version available. Okay, what that means is there are lots of websites that are already on Drupal 6 version, and this version is still supported by the Drupal community. So if you're looking to work off of that base, you can do that. But since we're already we're designing a brand new site, we'll start with the 7.15 version. So just click either on the zipped file or the tar file, and then unzip it using either 7-zip or your whatever unzipping program that you have on your machine. Okay, so now I have already downloaded the Acquia version of the LAMP stack, and I'm going to install that for it on my machine here. You'll see that it's actually installing the Apache 2.2 version, the MySQL 5.1 version, the PHP 5.2 and 5.3 versions. Again, depending on your requirement, you can either use the 5.2 or the 5.3 version of PHP, so both of them are going to be available. And then the last one here is PHP MyAdmin, which is basically interface for the MySQL server. It's just a better graphical user interface for the MySQL server. So we want to install all these things. Click on next, accept the terms, and then it's telling me that it's installing at this location. Clicking on next gets me to this page here. Here it's basically telling you the port that it's going to use in order for your local installation to work in your browser, 8082. Okay, so we'll just remember that. We'll actually come back and change the setting afterwards to make it easier. But right now I'm just leaving everything default and just continuing with the next option. Here it's a site name and then password. Basically what what the script is doing now is it's going to create my first Drupal installation based on Acquia's version of the Drupal profile. We'll get into the details of that next, but for now we'll just give it a password and then password again and click next. Alright, so you do need an email ID. And then we'll click next, and here it's giving you the settings details, and we'll continue with that. So now it's going to go through, install the LAMP stack, and then it's also going to install the basic Drupal installation, but it's going to be a different flavor of Drupal because we're using the Acquia installer, and it installs Drupal using some profile that Acquia has designed to make it easier for beginners. But what we'll do in the next video is we'll go back and from our download of the 7.15 version, we'll use that to do a fresh installation again. Okay, finally the installation is complete. It literally takes about a couple of minutes for it to complete, and then it gives you the option to launch the control panel, and we'll just say yes to launch it. And here's the application now, and it says Apache web server. Green means it's running, and then the MySQL server means running as well. So if we click on go to my site, it will launch the local version of your Drupal installation that you just completed. See here it says localhost and then :8080. That's the port that it was using initially, and if you use the username and password that we had initially when we installed, you'll be able to log into your website. So this is the Acquia flavor of Drupal installation, not the one that we downloaded from Drupal itself. Okay, so I need you to understand that so that we can continue with the actual installation of the core Drupal and not the Acquia Drupal. Okay, so what we have right now is, if you look at this, this is the Acquia Drupal installation. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually take the 7.15 version of Drupal that we downloaded from Drupal.org and use that script to actually do the installation. So I have here the 7.15 zipped folder, and I've extracted it, and it's called Drupal 715. I'm just going to rename it, and I'm going to rename it to Drupal 7. Now I'm going to copy this folder and place it in the same location where we have the Acquia Drupal installed. Okay, so here when you install the initial Acquia Drupal installation, we selected under the sites folder, we made this Acquia Drupal folder, which was the default setting. So under the sites folder again, I'm placing my Drupal 7 folder now. Okay, so I'm going to take that and actually drop it there. So under sites, I have Acquia Drupal, which is the default installation, and now the new folder Drupal 7, which is the profile that I got from Drupal.org. So now that I have it placed, all I need to do is go back to my Acquia desktop and go to settings and click on sites, and this time I want to import. We're not actually installing anything brand new, we're importing the Drupal 7 folder. So we'll click on that. Once you click on the browse button, you'll go to your location where you have just added the new folder under sites and then Drupal 7, and just click OK, and here you have option to either create a new database, or if you already have one, we'll just say create a new database, and local server is still going to be localhost. And now we want to give it a subdomain. So we'll call this my site. And as you can see from the site URL, it's automatically using my site as a subdomain for your local host. And we'll just go import, click on new database, and we'll call it my site as well for the database name, and then we'll just import it. So what this is doing is the Acquia installer is automatically configuring everything that it needs to do to set up your basic Drupal installation. So here's your install file, and we'll just click on the standard installation, click save, and now it's going to go through the whole Drupal script and do the actual Drupal installation for you. Okay, now that the installation is complete, we're going to get the site information page. Here we can leave that my site at localhost. We do need to give an address here, and I'll use username as admin. And we'll just leave everything else as is and click on continue. And that's pretty much it. We've done a fresh installation of Drupal, and as you can see, this looks a little bit different than the one that we installed earlier, which was the Acquia flavor, and this is the Drupal flavor, the core Drupal installation. Okay, so we have our local Drupal installed. So before we actually move forward, I want to actually change this port so I don't have to keep typing in the 8082. So what you need to do is open up your Acquia control panel and click on the port section, and instead of the 8082, we're just going to make it port 80. Click OK, and we're back to our Acquia panel. Everything is running. We'll come back to our site. Right now it says 8082, but if I actually refresh it, it's not going to find it because we've just changed the setting. So if I remove everything now it's back to I'm able to access that website without having to type in that port number. So it just makes it a little easier. So now you can just type in mysite.localhost and you'll be able to access this page. So let me log in. I set admin here. Okay, so now I'm logged into the new site, and the first option I have here is to add content. So let's just click it and see what options we have. By default, Drupal gives you two content types, and this is Drupal lingo now, an article type and a basic page type. So we call these content types. So by default you have these two content types. One is an article, which acts like a blog post, and a basic page. So let me go ahead and add an article first. Okay, and we'll say welcome to I love Drupal, and then we're going to skip the tags and we'll just say why choose Drupal, and here you have option that says filtered HTML. We're just going to leave everything as is, and we'll just click save and see what happens. Okay, so here's welcome to I love Drupal. Here's the content, and let me click on the home page now. So now my home page says welcome to I love Drupal, the article that I just added. So let me go ahead and add another one and see how it works out. So we'll call this second article page. page, and we'll use the same content, and we'll save it again. So as you can see, that article is saved. Now if I go back to my home page, here's my second article page and the content, and then the welcome to I Love Drupal. So you see the article is acting like a blog, where the latest article that you post shows up on the home page, and the one prior to goes down in a chronological order. So now let's see what the basic page does. Okay, I'm going to click on the basic page. My site basic page, and some text goes here, and actually I'll come back to the menu option. So here it says my site basic page, and again another thing you want to notice here is it's called node 3. What Drupal does by default is every time you add a content type, it gives it a node number, and it's a unique ID that is referenced within the database. So since this is our third item that we added on the site, it's telling me that it's node 3. If I go back to my home page and click on the first one, that was my first page, node ID 1, and then click on 2, gives me node ID 2, but there is no, if I go back to home page, I don't have my basic page. I'm not able to see it. What that means is page by default in Drupal is considered a static page, and it is something that you want to link to. It's kind of like your About Us page or the Contact Us page or something like that, where you specifically need to add a menu item or some other way to link to it. So right now there's no way for me to actually get back to that page from the user interface that's available to me here. But from the admin interface, if I click on content, it gives me all my content here. So that's one way for me to access all the content and then go specifically to that page content. Or another way for me to do the same thing would be, since I know that was node 3, I can type in node/3, and that takes me to that page. So there's a couple of different ways where you can access the page. Since I knew it was node 3, I can just type that in, or I can click on content and then click on the edit option from there. So now I want a better user interface. I want to be able to link from, say, a menu to this page, my basic page. In Drupal you have this option here, the menu setting, and it says provide a menu link. We'll click on that, and by default it takes the title, my basic page, which was the title here, and it puts it as a menu link. So let's call this my Contact Us page. If you want to use that as your contact info, we can do that, and here's the parent item, and main menu is the main menu item that we want to link to. If we want this to be under home, we could do that, but we want this as a separate item. So we'll do that and give it a weight of 1, so it goes after the home and not before it. Click save. I'm going to X out of there, and there you go. You have the home page and then the Contact Us page that will take you directly to that basic page. So that is basically the basics of installing Drupal, being able to add a couple of articles that acts like your blog, and then adding a basic page that will give you some basic info about your website, similar to your Contact Us page or privacy terms and conditions and stuff like that. So in our next video, we'll actually go through all the other settings that are available to us. We'll talk about how we can go through each of these options that we have as administrator and learn a little bit more about Drupal. Till then, we'll see you next time. Bye.